8:15 coming up on 16 after 8. Todd Mitchell solo here. Mitchell in the morning and Guns in this 701. Good morning.
Well, good morning, Todd. How you doing?
Well, last remnants of the Christmas crud. Still trying to hang on. You know those little green.
A great Christmas. That's the big thing.
Apart from it was a great Christmas Eve, and then from late Christmas Eve on, it was completely forgettable. Those little green snotty men on cartoon characters on TV. Those things are real.
They're real.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, I realize TV kind of over-represents them, but they're not completely fake. I'll put it that way.
Well, you know what? I got to introduce a new guy to Guns in the 701.
Yeah, tell me about him.
I believe you got him on air. Mike Deakins, he's from Mitchell, South Dakota. He joins us. Been a good long-time friend, and I'll let him go ahead and introduce himself.
And I believe I'm here, so
you are.
Hi, welcome to, of course, glad to be here with K-Fire. And Todd, in the morning, of course, we... From Mitchell, South Dakota, been working with Clay for years back in the NRA days, and really working hard to push our Second Amendment as far as we can, and making sure it gets as protected as it can be.
Yeah, he was my volunteer of the year. Did a great job with us for 10 years. So yeah, I'm happy to have him be part of the team here. And I don't know if you heard our announcement. But Jamie he decided to do, he's going to stick with us doing different things here, and I think he's even going to have a new little thing. So I'll let him announce that when he gets it up and running.
Okay, fantastic. So on to a new year, 2024, 2023, saw a new milestone for gun rights.
We did. It was actually a great year. We saw constitutional carry even be expanded more across the nation, which is great. We've been working on that for years. As you know, North Dakota had constitutional carry passed here about 2 sessions ago. Although we need to do some tweaking on it, it was still a great step in the right direction, and we're sure glad to have that. But basically, we saw this thing expand across 25 states now. So we're half the states in the United States are constitutional carry with varying limitations. South Dakota to the south of us. Those guys, it's just like Wyoming. If you're legal to have a firearm, you can carry. You don't need a permit. You don't have to be a resident. You can actually exercise your Second Amendment right freely in both Wyoming and South Dakota. I know those 2 states for sure. We did see that it did result in a decline in concealed carry permits being applied for, which would make sense, being you don't need the concealed carry permit unless you want to travel to other states. But yeah, it was a huge year. Down in Florida, DeSantis, who's running for president, they went ahead and passed theirs, got it through, and he was proud to sign it. You saw this happen in Nebraska. Nebraska was a hard-fought state to get constitutional carry, but Governor Joe Pillins said, you know what? I signed this bill. It upholds the promise I made to the voters to protect constitutional rights and protect common sense conservative values. And he really did. He campaigned on that hard, and he fulfilled that promise. So it was a great thing to see Nebraska actually come into the fold. And right now, if you don't know, the states that have it now are Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire. That one surprised me. North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, West Virginia, and, of course, Wyoming. So half the states, basically, we're seeing freedom be expanded, and just happy to see that happening right now across the country. You got anything you want to add to that, Mike?
No, I mean, of course, any expansion, of course, for our Second Amendment rights is always a great thing. It's the edging away or the chipping away at other states is that we have to constantly be vigilant on.
Absolutely.
All right, Guns of the 701 here. Mitchell in the morning on K-Fire at 8:20. So what is this third annual Governor's Forum SHOT Show? Please don't all speak at once. One at a time, you guys. Come on. I hate it when you guys talk over each other like that.
Yeah.
It's even worse when you guys think over each other and then nobody talks.
I know. Clay, go ahead on that.
I can go ahead on this one. So we got the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Basically, that's the biggest firearms industry trade association in the United States. They host this is their third one. It's their annual Governor's Forum during the SHOT Show, which, if you're not familiar with that, that's where everybody gathers for the shooting, hunting, and outdoor trade show. and it's going to be Wednesday, January 4th, 1 to 2 for the governor's forum. Right now, confirmed governors coming are Idaho, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. I noticed that Governor Burgum was absent from this list. I did do a little looking. It looks like he's never attended it. Kristi Noem, it looks like, has been there once. And as we know, both these states are pretty solid on the Second Amendment. But Burgum, we've had our issues with him. I remember when he first got elected, he was in support of red flag laws. I think maybe he saw the light on it, or either that it was a political ploy. And then as we saw that strengthen when he decided he was going to make a failed run for president, he basically really said he's really Second Amendment. But I don't believe him. I think a lot of people have questions, although I will say he was the one that signed constitutional carry, and we've had some victories, so I'm not going to count him out. And I'm not sure he got invited to this. I imagine he did. I think they invite him all, but to his benefit, I'm not going to count him out on it because I'm not sure. But it's a great way for basically the people to hear what governors think about the Second Amendment, their rights, what's going on in their states. So, you got anything, Mike?
No, on that, of course, like you said, we're not sure if he was there, he was invited or not. I mean, I would think that would be something that would be very important, especially for Second Amendment-minded states to attend. I mean, it seems like it's one of those things you'd want to have your name in, especially back when he was running for the primaries and whatnot. You figured that would be one of the things he would want to put his thumb on, but we'll see.
Yeah, I imagine if he was still in the race, he might have attended this basically for the optics, because that's what Governor Burgum does. He looks for photo ops and optics as far as I'm concerned. But, hey, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. I just had to note that he is not so far committed or confirmed to be attending the governor's forum in Las Vegas at the SHOT Show. So
823 at K-Fire with Guns in the 701. So bear spray not as effective as the claims are. I guess I remember the movie The Great Outdoors. You just throw a candy bar at them. And
well, it doesn't work that way. No. Of course, we're talking about eight out of the 22 people killed by bears since 2016 when incidences where bear spray was used as defense. I mean, you're talking about bears. For some of the larger bears, of course, anything lower than a 44 caliber pistol is not going to work. A couple of the situations on those as well where people were dressing out field elk or field dressing out elk, and of course bears snuck up on them and smelled the scent and went. But we know for a fact that our military is trained to resist spray and whatnot, and you build up a tolerance. So these bears are getting hit with this over and over again, and continues, of course, to have incidences grow. Talking about outside of the continental United States, I know Japan right now is having a huge problem with this. In the past year, they've had 193 bear attacks, and they can't figure out why they can't stop it. Well, a hunt would probably thin that out a little bit, but that's not exactly how they think. But 193, and of course we're talking about just since 2016, 22 people killed in the continental United States. Not being able to understand that if you have a pistol or a rifle that is calibered enough to be able to protect yourself, you should be able to use that. Whereas I don't really want to take the 50-50 chance that the bear spray that I'm working is going to work, because 50-50 chance is not exactly what I call good chance.
Don't you think if you have a big enough can of bear spray, it might work?
Yeah, just a larger one, just a big.
Yeah, I think it's just a little handheld isn't really going to be enough, right?
No, and they've
been
hit by it before. They know what they're going to be expecting, and so they can power through it. And bears, when they're angry, I mean, we know they can power through anything.
If you're doing the bear spray out of a hose from a tanker truck, it might work. So
maybe
you could always maybe. I mean, there's no guarantees. But if you're just doing the handheld can thing, good luck with that. Psst, isn't going to be enough for a bear, for crying out loud. More with Guns in the 701 coming up. It is 8:25. Celebrating the. Really? Are we up to 50 years? Blazing Saddles.
We rode a blazing saddle. He wore a
They don't make them like that anymore, doggone it. Guns in the 701, and oh boy, Chicago. They finally got their act together. What do you think? 840 and K-Fire Guns in the 701, and of course, Clay back with us. Mike Deacon's joining us from Mitchell, South Dakota, a very appropriately named town, very great named town, Mitchell. We like that. We like that name up here. So Chicago's first homicide in 2024 took how long?
Took matter of fact, just a few moments. Most states are shooting to have the first birth of the year. For Chicago was the first shootings of the year. As a matter of fact, 19 shots ringing out, killing one 53-year-old man and wounding several other people, including head wounds for a couple females and more. It's no new news for Chicago. I like how the story said there was an uptick in violence. I like how they an uptick, as if it's just a minor thing. But one of the things that catches my eye on this story as well is not only just the massive loss of life, but the fact that none of the people that were interviewed will testify or talk about who did the shootings, because like a lot of areas like Chicago, it's basically become lawless, and you're looking at, cartel-like mentality, where if you testify, you're going to look at getting shot yourself. So it's one of those things where people are living in fear, but, hey, let's take your guns away because, just because you're living in fear doesn't mean you get to protect yourself.
Lawless, and yet there's a law. How's that working out?
Well, of course, they've got the whole thing where let's pass more laws, and if we only could to enforce the ones we have and not have the courts let the people go once they are captured or are taken into custody because of weak sentencing laws and or just the exclusive overcrowding, then maybe we could actually put a nip on this and make Chicago a place worth visiting. But right now, it's not a place exactly on my 2024 list of places to go. The
gridlock gets terrible anyway, so what do you think?
I know.
Well, I look at Chicago. They got some of the strictest laws in the country, aside from D.C. and maybe the whole state of California when it comes to guns. I mean, it's pretty hard. You have to have a FOID card, which is basically a firearms owner ID card. You have to have that to even have a firearm and even to buy ammunition in most places. You got the new assault weapons ban that's going to go into effect. I'm sure that'll work its way through the courts and get up to the Supreme Court, be overturned by Bruin. But in the meantime, they're going to have a ban on them. They got bans on magazines, bans on certain types of rifles and guns. I mean, they have the utopia of complete gun control, yet they have some of the highest rates. In 2023 alone, and this is according to the FBI stats, you got 617 people were killed in 2023. And remember, this is it's a good number to maybe base it on. That's the ones they know about. When you start looking at what happens in Chicago and the things that don't get reported or they don't know how it happened, those don't go into the homicide number. That just shows up as deaths, and they don't know if it's by guns or what it's by. So when you kind of look at that, I don't think it's a gun problem. It's not a proud number that I would want to have as my city, and it seems to be getting worse in Chicago. And I imagine with the illegals that are rolling in there by the hundreds of thousands over the last year, it's going to get a lot worse. So, Chicago's not on my list either to go visit.
No, and will they ever clean up that place? Who really knows? Guns of the 701 here at K-Fire at 844. So if you're working a store that sells guns and somebody steals one, you should A, let them walk away with it, because after all, they have a gun now, or B, get after him and grab it and get the guy arrested. Well, not that simple, I guess.
Academy Sports and Outdoors.
This was 3 employees at this sporting goods place in Louisiana. Did the right thing, because you're thinking about it. If somebody is looking at a pistol, supposedly wanting to buy, and the next thing you know, he takes off running out the store. Well, it's not a pair of socks. It's not a sweater. It's a gun. It's a pistol. And that thing, as soon as it's out on the streets, can be used to kill innocents, and including children. I'm going to step out and do the best I can, which the store actually should commend its employees for trying their very best.
Yeah, really, if the guy goes out and kills somebody with that gun, does the store get sued then? You know, in which case I would think the employees would go, I could have prevented this, but you didn't want me to, so it's on you. Don't cry to me about it.
Yeah, they've got a policy called leaving the front porch, and that's basically what they're saying is their excuse for firing these employees is they left the front porch. So, and they went out and tried to do a positive as opposed to, just sit back and be like, well, you know what, it's not my job. I was trying to sell something, but if he steals it, that's not my job. I'll let somebody else take care of it outside. And the thing about it is, if the guy who got the ammo, he'd probably come back in and rob the store if he knew it was that easy.
You think?
It's a complete ridiculous policy that this store has, I imagine. Who knows? I don't know a lot about Academy Sports now, as a whole, but I can tell you that policy is ridiculous. I guess I would think, can you imagine walking into Shields in Bismarck, North Dakota, and somebody's showing a pistol and they take off running? I don't know, but I bet Shields doesn't have that policy, and I wouldn't even doubt possibly someone in Shields in that department may be carrying. I don't know. It'd be something to find out, but it's just ridiculous that you'd say, yeah, just go ahead and take it and leave the store. That's just insane. And, they ran out there. The guy was gone. They still don't have a location on the subject. As of right now, the police have no clue who this person was yet. So you got a guy out there that got a gun. It didn't go through the NICS background check system. Who knows what he's doing with it? Heck, he could have went and committed another crime by now with it. So, yeah, I think you got to try to stop that with all means possible if you can. And
background check, he didn't pay for it either, so, I mean.
Didn't pay for it, no background check, violated several federal laws. Yeah.
And remember, the criminal is ask them to step back into the store if they're committing a crime.
Can you please come back? Because that always works for the shoplifter, right?
Yeah,
it reminds me of Demolition Man. You remember that movie, guys? When, tell Maniac to lay on the ground. Maniac refused. Do it again, but strongly say it.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah. It's like, come on, let's get a little practical here. And I suppose maybe 3 guys chasing after a guy. I don't know how many guys they have in the store then at that point, but, we can't all chase after the guy. But you would think if somebody's got a decent enough jump to actually catch the guy, that you'd be pleased for the effort. But
you'd think, wouldn't you?
Because what are we teaching? We're teaching everybody that, just stay in your station. Nothing else going around is your problem. Just, stay at your till or stay in your section, your department, whatever. And
that's many companies that say, on loss prevention. Well, we had to raise prices because of all this loss prevention. And yet, the employees aren't allowed to stop this loss prevention because it might hurt the feelings of the criminal.
Not to mention the fact that, so the prices go up, so more people steal because they can't afford the new prices. And so the prices go up because more people, that's kind of a snowball there, right?
Just a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Exactly.
Can you imagine going, though, into a local gun store? Pick any of them, and I know several in Bismarck. You wouldn't want to try that there because I know them guys are armed and ready to use it. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of the big box stores, basically, have you ever noticed that their guns or their outdoor sections are located towards the backs of the store? Well, that's on purpose. I can tell you that for a fact that they do that to try and prevent things just as what we read about here and reported is theft, because you might have a chance of actually stopping them before they get to the door. Unless you go to Academy Sports. I guess it's free range, guys. You go ahead and hit
free range. Well, there.
So who's going to put together the list of woke sports outlets so we know where you can go ahead and steal the gun versus the ones where you probably shouldn't try?
Well, I think the problem with that is that the people that are stealing already have that list in their heads. I mean, they know which stores are going to allow this to happen. Obviously, they've been doing it a lot.
Touche. Touche. Goes in the 701 here on K-Fire 550. And in case you missed it, Jamie's still a part of Guns of the 701, just not going to be on the weekly calls with us, right? Kind of that sort of deal.
Yep, correct. And it'll probably be me and Mike most of the time. We got a couple other guys that may join in and be, going in and out. It might not even be me. It might be Vance and Mike at times. But hey, you can find us at our website, gunsand701.com anytime. Hit iHeart, best podcast out there, iHeart Radio. And then, of course, you want to check out K-Fire whenever you can to hit Guns in the 701, guys.
Well, good to be talking to Mitchell, South Dakota this morning.
Thank you very much for letting me on. I appreciate that, Todd.
Thanks, Mike. Nice to make your acquaintance. Clay, thanks again. Talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, Todd.
Guns of the 701, best podcast on the iHeart app. Check it out.